All right. All right. If everybody could find a seat, everybody, you can hug Ron afterwards, okay? All right. I recommend sitting in the second row and up. I think the first row kind of hurts your neck, but if you could all just have a seat. I just also like to remind everyone to silence your cell phones. And I hope I did. Okay. Today, I feel like Thank you, Rachel and Mike. Take your time. That was so beautiful. Sheviti Adonai Lenegdi Tamid Sheviti Adonai Lenegdi Tamid. God is always right here by my side. God is always right here by my side. Sheviti Adonai Lenegdi Tamid Sheviti Adonai Lenegdi Tamid. I read this poem. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of her birth and spoke of the following date with tears. But what he said mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represented all the time that she spent alive on earth. And now only those who knew her know what that little line is worth. It matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and how we love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can be rearranged. If we could just slow down and consider what's true and real, and try to understand the way other people feel, to be less quick to anger and show appreciation more and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash may only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud about the things they say about how you spent your dash? And Kay, although gone way too soon, spent her dash in such incredible ways. And we're going to learn about that today. But now it's traditional to read a psalm that's dear to many of our traditions, the 23rd Psalm. And if you know the words, please say them with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. The way we live on is through memory, through very precious memory. And Ron and Kay's family are so grateful that people have come here today to remember and to celebrate her life. And to begin, if there's anybody who would like to come up and speak a little bit, we welcome you to do so at this time. And if you wanted, you could just come right over to this podium if you had anything you wanted to say. It doesn't have to be a dissertation, although Ron's written about 40 of them. But anything you want to say would be welcome. Hi, Jesse. Right there.
Hello. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. It was 20 years ago that I last stood up here for my bar mitzvah when I was 13. You guys were sitting right there. I was right there. Sorry. Now, oh, there we go. Quick rewind. It's been about 20 years since my bar mitzvah when I last stood up here. It's crazy how much has and has not changed, and just how much has now changed.
I'm still here.
You are. I love Cantor Klissel. Mom was. Miss her so much. She cared very deeply. Wasn't always the best at expressing herself sometimes, but it was always, I always knew that even on the odd times she put her foot in her mouth, she always came from a place of deep caring and affection. She was an inspiration as a mom, as a role model. The quick life story, some of the things that she did terrified me when I heard them as a kid growing up. The idea that when she was she went to school for fashion design in Minnesota, and the idea that she then, with a friend, got on a bus to New York City without a plan, without an apartment lined up or a job lined up or anything, utterly scared me. Like, how? How could you do that? That seems crazy. That seems wild. Like, would you just homeless or something? Like, no. She just found a place, found apartments that, were out of price range. So then she went and found more apartments and then found a little teeny tiny hole in the wall, and she made it work. And then the next day she got up and was literally knocking on doors in the fashion district to go get into fashion. And it just blew my mind, because the world just doesn't work that way anymore. But even if it did, that still just seems crazy. She did that for a while, and then she decided she did not like that, went back to school and got into engineering. Eventually, City College, and then on to Columbia, and to Bell Labs, back when Bell Labs was Bell Labs. A woman in the field of engineering at that time is almost unheard of, and she was a pioneer. Even then, after Bell Labs broke up, she didn't want to stay in the telecom, so she reinvented into medical device, which, if you have any experience in engineering, that is basically like starting over again almost. And she did this all while being providing for us as a family and taking care of us and making Halloween costumes and, always showing up. I remember as a kid, I got an extra late bedtime of 9 p.m., which is about right for right now. We have a newborn at home. Because she always worked late. She always wanted us to be up for at least a little bit when she came home so she could see us. And I remember as a little kid, I would hear the car coming in, and I'd run and I'd tackle her when she came through the door. And I remember as the years went on where we had a new ritual where she came into the door and I had to wait because she had to put the stuff down, take off the bag, hang up the jacket, and then brace for impact because I would come sprinting across the living room and jump at her. And she worked really, really, really hard. Huge inspiration. When I was going off to college and I didn't know really what I wanted to do, I had a fantasy idea of, let me build planes. don't know anything about it, never got into that. But she was like, go into mechanical engineering. Whatever, if that changes or whatever, or even if you stick with that, it'll see you through. And that has absolutely gotten me through, the modern college situation and life, and helped me start a life and a family, and led me down countless great adventures. And I'm going to miss her every day for the rest of my life. And I think everyone else here will too.
Thank you, Jesse. Jesse, I want to remind you that not only did your mother get on a bus, but nobody had a cell phone then.
That's true.
So can you even imagine that?
She helped build the first one.
That's right. Thank you, Kay. Do we have anyone else? Please come up and tell us who you are.
I don't normally do this, but I'll give you a little bit. I'm Mary Elizabeth Chesterman Salmon. I came from California and by way of Iceland, and I landed in New York City. And we became friends. I met Jack, and he introduced me to Ron. And Ron was going through some bad times until he met Kay. And we knew that because Ron had given up photography, he'd given up cooking, he'd given up all this other stuff for this other girlfriend. Whew. And we were like, when Kay entered the situation, and he came to our wedding anyway. We moved out to Port Washington, and we invited them out, and we would make a New Year's dinner that we could never afford to eat. And we would get our preparation out, the real veal broth and everything like that. And we did that several times. We put our kids to bed, and then we would eat this miraculous dinner that we could never, ever afford to eat. And when our kids were up, he was Uncle Ron and she was Auntie Kay, because my family was in Kansas and Maryland and Europe and California, and Jack's family was small and busy, and we needed family. So that's what they were. And whenever we went over to their apartment or something, Ron had a Turkish coffee set with little porcelain cups. And with 2 and 3 and 5-year-olds and stuff, they would play with the dishes and everything, and they were playing their pool and everything. So he was an adopted uncle and adopted aunt. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Kay's younger sister, Jean, and I'm fairly terrified of public speaking, so that shows the power of my sister, that I'm willing to get up because I just wanted to give her a huge shout out for all she's done for me in my life. And I was with her on that. It wasn't a bus, it was a train coming to New York in 1975. And we needed each other because that was a big city and we were young. And we grew up, we shared a room back. There's 5 kids, 3 daughters, all 3 girls shared a room, and I shared a bed with Kay, which was not always easy. I don't know if she moved and threw herself around in bed. Yeah, well, we didn't have that. We had the old double beds. But anyway, she just has always been there for me. She's been a huge support, a loving heart, always just let me know how, loved I was by her. And it really is sad, and I will miss her also. Thanks.
Thank you, Jean.
Thank you, Jean.
Hi, my name is Josh. Probably been about 20 years since I was last up here at Jesse's Bar Mitzvah. Some of you are still seated where I last saw you, where I pulled, I think, the best practical joke in the history of bar mitzvahs. And Mom was actually right there, and I watched her face when I launched into the speech from Princess Bride. With full voice and orchestration, watching the look of puzzlement, understanding, shock, and then trying desperately not to crack up. And it's hard to, this is one of a lot of fond memories of my mom. She was a self-described feminist. I don't know if you ever knew that about her. She made sure at a very young age, when I was about 6, 7 years old, I knew exactly how to speak to a woman. I knew how to treat her, that a woman can do anything that a man can do, that I should not ever look down on her for something like that. And being a father of a soon-to-be 5-year-old who is just a miniature version of myself, definitely a lesson I've been trying to impart on her almost every day. She will be very missed. There's a lot of the Jesse, and Jean mentioned her coming out to New York from Minnesota, just getting on that train and coming out here definitely helped inspire me when it's time for me to move out. When I was given the choice of, well, you can either come up to Connecticut or you can move out down to South Jersey to this girl you've been dating for a little while. Choice is yours. I went, I think I'll move out. Sure, that seems like a good idea. I can do that. My mom can do that, I can do this. So she definitely inspired me a lot of what she could do. And I'm very proud to say I'm the son of a feminist. My mom worked on the first cell phones. People were saying, what did she do? I'm like, well, she product tested cell phones to make sure they could survive a dead drop fall of 10 feet and still maintain call quality. Well, how did she do that? Oh, she'd just go up a ladder and drop them onto a concrete floor, which always got a good laugh. There's just a lot. There's so many stories I could tell. We could all spend all day up here reminiscing and thinking of something. So that's another thing I'll ask everybody here is just pick a good memory, something you can look back on when you think of my mom, and just always hold on to that every time you think about her.
Good, Josh. Thank you, Josh. Seriously? I've been getting you and Josh and Jerry now making it all day. I'm fine. And Jack, of course.
Why did I know you would come? He said, Gabby, I don't know if I'm going to speak. I said, Ron, you've never not spoken.
You want to?
Come on up.
Rock? No. Another J.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jack Salmon. I'm Mary's other half. Kay was just a wonderful person, caring, funny, loving. As to those dinners that we had with Ron and Kay, I remember our first one. I think that was the beef Wellington, and Kay. Oh, the tornadoes. Because I remember the beef Wellington, and Kay made the pastry that went around the. And Kay also helped us out when our second child was born. Kay spent a week with us and helped watch Jean while Mary was recovering, and I had already taken my time off from work, and that was very much appreciated. And I miss her. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jerry Bertram. I live so far away that I can't share quite as many visits as I've just heard about. But we managed to visit often enough and came for bar mitzvah for Josh. We didn't come to yours, unfortunately, but that's all right. My memories are very episodic, but one thread goes through all of them. Kay, and you've already heard, Kay was funny, and I remember her a lot because she laughed a lot, including at my lame jokes, of which I made many. I will miss her terribly. Recently we took some road trips to visit Ron and Kay over the first one was before COVID, the last one was after COVID, and I was looking forward to more, and now I can't.
Kay, a breath of fresh air, gone way too soon. I first met Kay and Ron about 12 years ago when I had started to see Mel, a very close friend of close to 40 years of Ron and Kay's. Eager to get to know me, Kay asked, "What is your guilty pleasure?" I responded, watching a TV show that was popular at the time, What Not to Wear. This led to the revelation, as Jesse mentioned, that her first degree was in fashion from FIT. I was in awe because I knew that she was currently an engineer. I knew I had met a Renaissance woman. Over the years, we have had so many good times together with Ron and Kay, watching silent film comedies together monthly in New York, eating Indian food and other exotic cuisine, sharing pictures of her grandchildren, the grandchildren, which, I know she loves so much, and unfortunately she didn't get to meet Felix. We also enjoyed walking along the beach. She loved the beach. She loved the horizon, the way it formed an infinite horizontal line stretching across the skyline. She collected beautiful tiny golden shells, which she gave to me for a project with my grandkids. When Ron and Kay moved back from Connecticut to Red Bank, we watched with amazement as they slowly transformed their house into the space that they wanted to live, inspired in part, of course Ron was also part of the inspiration, inspired in part by Kay's visual and engineering skills. A large, awkward space was redesigned to replace a solid wall with glass shelves within that wall to allow light to pass and reflect glass objects. When I think of Kay, I think of beauty, light, and color.
My name is Mel Schindler. I've known Ron and Kay for a very, very long time. 45 years, right. I don't like thinking in terms of years anymore. I've given that up. I think in terms of decades. The one thing I think we are all aware of is our friend Ron is a raconteur extraordinaire. He loves to tell stories. He loves to talk about history. And he just likes to talk. So one of the important aspects of Kay, dear Kay, is that she served an important role in Ron's talking. She was the fact checker. She would always take an opportunity when Ron went a little bit further than might be necessary to say, "Oh, Ron." And I just hear that, "Oh, Ron," over and over in my mind again. She was an extraordinary woman. I will miss her dearly, and I think that's it.
Thank you.
I think among all of you guys, I probably know her the shortest time, but I'm so lucky to be her daughter-in-law, one of her daughter-in-law, of course. And the first time I met her was September 1st, 2019, when we go down visit Katie and Josh when Maggie Jane was born. And the first time I saw her, she gave me the biggest hug, and then she talked to Jessie, whispering, "She's so pretty." I was like, that's a little embarrassing, but thanks. I remembered when we are about to get married, and she was like, "Do you want to try my wedding dress?" So we were in their current condo, and she popped up her wedding dress, and inside there is a dryer. Like, she took her wedding dress to dry cleaning, and she paid $350 for the dry cleaning. And I literally, like, me and her hide out on the attic of her condos and try out the dresses and everything. It was so much fun. And then she always say, "You know what?" And I guess that was taken from Grandma, Grandpa. And we always say that to each other. And I also remember that before our wedding, we just want to have a get-out weekend. Me, Jessie, and Kay went to the lavender field, and we picked the lavenders, and she just loved the flowers, and we tried the lavender cookies, and that was amazing memories. And the last time we saw her was in my baby shower. We prepared for Felix to come me. And I feel so sorry that he couldn't see our son. But I also know that she loves all her grandkids, Maggie, Jane, Miles, and also our Felix. And I'm so thankful that all of you guys come for her. And I love her so much, and I think all of you guys are too. And it's sad for us, but also we will live on with her great memories, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Good afternoon. I've stood at this podium many times over the last 30 years to lecture, to watch my children get bar mitzvahed, to bury my parents. But this is by far the most difficult. I thank you all for coming. I mean, there were all the wonderful little tidbits that each of you, these are wonderful memories, and we all cherish them. And I know each and every one of you has your own memory of her. She just had that kind of impact on people. But perhaps the most ironic thing is that she herself never, ever really appreciated the impact she had on other people. She was so self-effacing, so uncertain. Yet, she presented to the world this incredible woman. And, after a while, when you present a particular persona, you become that person. And she was that person. It was, you know. I miss her dearly. I miss her dearly. Most of you know I ordinarily am not at a shortage for words. Been a teacher since 1967. I've taught 5,000 to 6,000 students in my life. But she taught me more about living and loving than anybody else in my life. And it's just hard to see tomorrow without her. Her final wish was to have her ashes spread at the headwaters of the Mississippi River. And it's all being well what we're going to do. Even if it's just, you know, Minnehaha Falls in downtown Minneapolis. But for those of you who know what I'm talking about. Well, all I can say is just thank you all so much for this expression of love and affection that you have all shared. And it fills my heart. It truly does. And God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
It's wonderful. Ron's second cousin.
Yes, you are my second cousin.
Kay would bring something to a room that nobody else could. So when my father passed away 25 years ago, we started having seders again. And we had them with Ronnie and Kay and the kids and his parents as a way to remember my parents and to keep a tradition going. And I think of Kay and what she would bring to our Seder. She would be the last one to leave the kitchen. She would help with the chorosis. She would always bring her chocolate cake, which was the best chocolate cake for Passover. But she would be there. What else do you want me to do? And she'd always, as everybody was saying, she'd bring humor and she'd bring lightness and she'd take away the tension out of the room and make the whole Pesach days that we would spend together just a glorious, glorious time. So what I dearly hope is that she will live on and something will be reborn that we will start doing as a tradition from now on and have her be the person that we're going to be honoring the way the whole Wallenfels family came into our family when my father passed. And she's easy to be around, and you know, we were just so grateful to have spent that night together just before she passed. And it didn't know that was going to happen, and you just never know. And her spirit will always be with us, and something is going to come out of it. We just don't quite know yet what it's going to be. Thanks.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Some of what I've prepared has been said, but I don't think there's any harm in celebrating somebody numerous times. We are here because of the deep love Kay showed each of us, all of us in this room. And now Kay needs us to support her beloved Ron, Josh, Jesse, Katie, Sinsin, Maggie, Miles, and Felix, as well as her beloved siblings, Anne and Jean, John and Thomas. Personally knowing Kay, I can truly say she embodied kindness and courage and generosity and integrity, creativity, deep love, and astonishing humor. Ron told me the story of her life, which I believe was truly remarkable. And no one writes better than Ron, so I'm going to paraphrase Ron. Kay was raised in Minneapolis and earned her BA in fashion design from University of Minnesota before coming to New York. And disillusioned with the industry, she completed a second bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering at CUNY at City College, and she was immediately recruited by Bell Labs. And then when she was at Bell Labs, she went on to complete her master's degree in engineering at Columbia. And as astounding as all of this is, in my opinion, the most remarkable part was that mid-drinnen, Kay and Ron each commuted from Brooklyn to Holmdel in Queens. Ron was acquiring more degrees, so numerous that I have lost track. And in the middle of getting her master's at Columbia and working full-time, and the crazy commute, she gave birth to 2 children, not at once, and moved to Monmouth County, raising those children, married to Ron. Honestly, I don't know how she did it. She was not known for her cooking, but I did hear she made the most delicious chocolate cake, and she used a rich dark chocolate icing. She made this for everybody's birthday, and she used her fashion degree to make incredible costumes for Josh and Jessie. And then she was also one of the volunteer costume designers at the high school, which got Ron the connection to a job at Monmouth University. Now you heard she went on to work at Motorola and then very fulfilling work at Cooper. And then quoting Ron once more, he said, Kay yet again successfully reinvented herself by ending her working career at Cooper Surgical of Trumbull, Connecticut, being part of the manufacturing of medical devices for women until her retirement in 2019. Ever humble in her own accomplishments as a pioneering woman in what remains such a traditionally male-dominated profession, she was a role model for all young women in our family, as well as the women and men she met throughout her career. I think this is almost an understatement about the impact she had. Her generosity with her time and her empathy provided remarkable support to a number of people. Kay had very uncompromising integrity and honesty. And I'm so grateful that she chose to become Jewish and studied with Rabbi Prezand so she could have a more meaningful role in her children's religious life. In fact, Dr. Wallenfels, it was Kay who decided the family should be Jewish. It was Kay who said we need to find a synagogue. And it was Kay who threw herself, cast her lot with the Jewish people, for which we are so grateful. And when she actually became co-president of the sisterhood with Lisa Swanhart, and when my son Simon was born 20 years ago, Kay and Lisa and the sisterhood, with their leadership, had a baby shower for me, something I will never forget. As Josh said, we could fill an entire day, maybe a year, maybe a lifetime, with really special memories that we each have of her. And honestly, we need to do that. That's how we live on. We live on through people's memories. We live through remembering their successes. We remember their challenges. And we remember their goodness. And that's the legacy we all leave. And her legacy is really infinite, uncountable. We're all the products of our parents and grandparents and our ancestors. And Kay clearly had a character of the highest caliber. She represented sensitivity and consideration towards all people. She was unparalleled in her devotion to her family and her friends, her career, her colleagues, her work. As a wife and a mother and a colleague and a friend and a sibling, there wasn't one time, and there are more iterations of her roles, but there wasn't one time that she didn't make everybody she was talking to feel listened to and special and loved. She will live in our memories and our hearts forever. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember. When we are weary and need of strength, we remember. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember. I happen to know that Kay really liked this reading, and I don't really remember which funeral I did it with. That's how many. We have too much history. But she very much told me she liked this reading. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a growing and a going from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, into looking backward or ahead. We see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death is a destination. But life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage, made stage by stage, from birth to death, to life everlasting. Please rise. Since Kay chose to be Jewish, she chose her name. And I think she chose the most beautiful Jewish name in all of history. She chose the name Gavriela. And I mean, her brilliance is just unparalleled. And anyone who chooses to be Jewish, they get a tribal name. So everyone is, whatever their name is, the son or daughter of their parents' names. So when you become Jewish, you become the daughter of our most exalted ancestors, Abraham and Sarah. So her Hebrew name is Gavriela, but Avraham v'Sarah, which tells you how important people are to our people who choose to be Jewish. They are of the highest lineage connected to those people who are our forebearers. Gabriella means God is my strength. And I want her family and loved ones to remember that she was a woman of very deep faith. And that I would imagine she wants you to call on that faith now, to find that faith and to create that faith, to continue being the resilient people that she created you to be. El male rachamim, shochein, shochem amromim, hamtzei v'nucha nechona, tachat kanfei shchina, im kedoshim utorim, kezoraki hamasirim, et nishmat, Gabriela bat Abraham Besara, shehalcha l'olama, ba'al harachamim, yastireha b'seter knafav l'olamim, bitzror, bitzror, Achayim et nishmata, Adonai hu nachalata, v'tanuach b'shalom, b'shalom al mishkava, v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Kay Herriges, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And we say, Amen. If you know the words of the Kaddish, please say them with me. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach chirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon u'chayei d'chol bei Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam u'lamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh, Vitadar, vitale, vitalal, shmei de kudisha brichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. And now to close our service, I invite Rachel and Mike to come back up. If everybody could please take a seat. And when they're done with their beautiful song, everyone is welcomed, enjoyed, and encouraged to come next door. We thank Lisa Tansman and our entire sisterhood for doing such a beautiful job in making this day so much more special so we can continue to celebrate Kay's life. Lech ki shechachacha Adonai. Go your way, because God has called you. Lech va'Adonai yiyeh imecha. Go your way, and may God be with you. V'halach lefanecha tzidkecha, kevod Adonai ya'asfecha. May your righteousness go before you, and the glory of God receive you. To Kay's family and her beloved friends, and everyone who had the privilege of knowing her, I say these words. May God console you with all who mourn in Zion and Jerusalem. Hamakom yenachem etchem b'toch shar avalei Zion v'Yerushalayim. And now we go forth in peace and to life. Amen. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Deb. Please join us for celebrate